All right, welcome to part 2. Going back here, now I had it where I showed you this comic strip, and again, you can have it where you go into all these different subcategories that will give you more information about the different cells that we're talking about in this comic strip. But it's a very simple visual of what happens in the body when we have viruses that attack. So definitely worthwhile looking at. And then I just also wanted to show you some notes here as well. That just a reminder, our phagocytes, they chew up anything foreign. They're not super specific. They're like a cleanup crew. Our neutrophil, they fight mainly bacteria. Our lymphocytes, they're very specific. They're going to take foreign invaders and destroy them individually. So like our B cell, so they're like military intelligence. They seek out foreign invaders and label them. T cells, they're like soldiers. They attack and kill the invaders. And what happens is the body detects pathogens which contain an antigen. And then we have specific antibodies that are made for the antigen. Like, I think it's so cool when I look at things like that, of how God created our bodies to work and how he knew that there'd be different pathogens that would enter our body that could harm us. And so he made it so that we also would have the antidote. Just like we had sin, that was the problem in the world, and he made the antidote. He made Jesus to be the perfect lamb for that. And so we have specific antibodies in our bodies that are made for that antigen, which is coming from the pathogen there. And so the antibodies, they can detect and target more pathogens to remove from the body. Now, this is the comic strip that I mentioned earlier. And also just a reminder here that with the macrophages, they're the first to the site. They clean up viruses and they call in the T cells. And they're much bigger than the rest of them. And they're like Pac-Man. All right, so just think of them as Pac-Man. And then your B cells, they're going to detect the invader and recruit antibodies and tag invaders. And then the killer T cells, isn't that a cool name? They're going to destroy infected cells with cytotoxin. The helper T cells, they call for backup. And then the epithelial cells, they make up most cells in your body, acting as a safety shield. Now, going to here, I think we've already covered all of this. So again, I have this PowerPoint in the Moodle page. I also have the comic strip in the Moodle page as well. All right, so I'm going to go back over here and your assignment. So we just finished covering that. We know that with the phagocytes, they chew up anything foreign. They're like a cleanup crew. And we know that the macrophages, they're like Pac-Man. They're going to eat everything else. And then with the B cells, they're like the military intelligence. And we've got the plasma. They're going to make and label them with antibodies. And then we also have the B memory cells. All right, so they are going to save copies to remember that bacteria or virus for next time. Then we've got our T cells. We've got the killer T cells. Again, I think that's such a cool name. We also have our helper T cells. And last but certainly not least, we have our memory T cells. And that's going to be saving copies so that way next time they can be quick to deploy and have it where they can attack and kill the foreign invader next time. Now, these questions here, these ones are going to be in a Google form, just like what I did for your lesson on Monday. And you don't have to send me this document. So again, I repeat, you do not need to share this document with me. This is for your notes. But what I'll do is in the Moodle page, you will have it where you get a chance to answer these questions using the Google Forms. And so these questions will be there. And when you submit your answers on the Google form, that will count as your homework check. And you have a whole week to do it because we have the long weekend. You have until Wednesday, April 14th to be able to get that into me. All right, so that was pretty short and sweet. I will see you next week, I guess. I hope you have an amazing long weekend and happy Easter, everyone.